League Baseball all season long. W291CL Lakeside Richmond and WURV HD2 Richmond on 106.1 ESPN. Richmond, it's time to get your morning going. Richmond Sports Talk by Richmond sports fans. This is Fitz the Bill with Jack Fitzpatrick. All live from the capital of the Commonwealth, where sharp analysis, your cause, and Richmond always come first. If it's making headlines locally or nationally, we're breaking it down. Now,
I'll take my time to South Beach.
Live from the capital of the Commonwealth, it's the Bill with your host, Jack Fitzpatrick.
Good Tuesday morning, July 8th. Welcome into Fitz the Bill. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. Alan alongside right here on 106.1 ESPN. Appreciate you getting your day started with us. Clocking in on the ESPN Richmond app, ESPNRichmond.com, or the old-fashioned terrestrial radio way at 106.1. Wimbledon getting underway today. We've got a loaded slate over in... Is Wimbledon the city or is it London?
I just say it's in England.
It's England. It's over there on the grass.
I get specific with cities. Just go to the country.
Well, they have a team. They have a soccer team, AFC Wimbledon. So
if they got a Wimbledon,
it's in London. Yeah. It's in London, folks. It's in London.
I'm just going to England.
Right next to what they call Richmond Park. A little connection there. All right. Welcome in. I appreciate you getting your day started with us. 804-327-0888. You know it. You love it. That's the phone number. You can call in. You can text in. You can be part of the show. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can be part of the show there as well by just dropping a comment. And while you're over there watching us live on YouTube at the ESPN Richmond YouTube channel, just go ahead and give us a subscribe. And while you're over there, might as well type in Fitz the Bill, ESPN RVA in the search bar too, and subscribe to that as well. Head on over to Instagram, do the same thing, TikTok, all of the social media platforms. You can follow along with everything we've got going on. And we've got going on a great show on this Tuesday. No guests, just your calls. We're working on a couple big-time guests for the remainder of the week, working to try and get a couple NASCAR people on, as we're just over a month out from the Richmond race. That is going to be a Saturday, August 16th over at the Richmond Raceway. So trying to work through a couple NASCAR guests between now and then as well. So keep it locked for that. If you ever miss an interview, if you ever miss anything, you can check it out over on the Fitz the Bill ESPN RVA YouTube channel. So just another little plug that you can go over and follow. It's a Tuesday. So Alan, how are you feeling on this Tuesday?
I'm feeling fine. The Braves didn't play last night.
Hey, that's true. Tonight too. You got a good chance to get a win tonight if you're a Braves fan. Just kidding. It's a West Coast game, and we all know.
Never a good chance. And we did lose to the Athletics. I'll never forget it. Like I said, 2021, we were the hottest team out. Went over and played them in Oakland and got swept.
Well, luckily for you, no longer in Oakland. We're playing in a AAA park in Sacramento. So things might go a different way for the Braves. Plus, they're not the hottest team in the MLB anymore. They are the coldest team in MLB play.
AAA park, AAA team.
Both the Athletics and the Braves, the way they've been playing.
Yeah,
I mean, that was rude, Braves. I apologize.
Acuna's still doing his rehab start. He doesn't even know it. Poor guy.
Poor guy. He's gonna walk into this and be like, I thought they sent me up. I thought I was done with rehab.
No, it's one of those things where I just want to see what they do at the break. If they shouldn't be sellers, because again, we've in the last 5-6 years, we've seen plenty of teams close the gap on something like that.
Yeah.
The expectations for them should be to get into the play-in wild card over the division, but there's still a chance that the division could be up for grabs the way these teams have played sometimes.
I was going to say, it's really kind of lucky the way that everything has shaken out going into the All-Star break. The Phillies and Mets both could have like 20 game leads over the rest of this group.
I mean, there was one point,
it's like a 10-game lead.
Yeah, I think you and Dolphin Dave were talking about it. At one point, the Mets had only won like 4 games. Actually, both New York teams were struggling there for a while, but the Mets didn't do anything, and the Phillies were also losing at the same time. I know there was a couple times where we came on air, the whole division had lost.
Yeah, like you're sitting there. You could be like the AL Central. The Tigers have a 14-game lead over the Royals in second place in that division, and there's a 1-game difference between the Phillies and the Mets, and then there's a 10-game difference between the Mets and the Marlins. That should be much bigger.
Yeah.
That should be much. And the Braves are sitting there just 12 games back of the Mets, which are second in the NL East, 13 games back of the Phillies. There's less of a gap between the Phillies and the Braves than there are between the Tigers and the Royals.
We got them right where we want.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Right where we want them. We meant to be down on the mat at this point in the season. We meant to be 11 games under 500. That was all part of the plan. Man, if you just think about it, if they didn't have 2 different 7-game losing streaks throughout this season, they would be right around 500, right in the thick of the NL East. I'll stop rubbing salt in the wound. Let's update you with what you may have missed overnight in the wide world of sports.
This is your Fitz the Bill morning update. Getting you caught up on some of the biggest stories in sports.
All right, in the MLB last night, there wasn't a ton of action. We just mentioned the Braves were off. They're back in action tonight against the Athletics, a 10:05 p.m. Eastern first pitch. You can listen to all of that action right here on 106.1 ESPN. Phillies were in action out on the West Coast. They lost to the Giants. The Red Sox beat the Rockies, just like everyone typically does, 9-3. Dodgers fell to the Brewers 9-1. The Padres, they lost 6-3 to the Diamondbacks. However, Manny Machado made some history. He notched his 2,000th career hit, becoming just the 5th active player to hit that milestone. And now he has 2,000 hits, 350 homers, all before his age 32 season or earlier. He joins a list of 11 other players. Hank Aaron, have you heard of him? Jimmy Fox, Lou Gehrig, Ken Griffey Jr., Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Mel Ott, Frank Robinson, Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols, and Alex Rodriguez. A nice little list there for Manny Machado to join, as he has gotten 2,000 hits, 350 homers, all in their age 32 season or earlier. In the NBA, some news came trickling out about Bradley Beal, the current Suns guard, former Wizard, close to being bought out by Phoenix. It's being reported by Zach Lowe of The Ringer and Fred Katz of The Athletic that is very close to being finalized. Beal would have to give back roughly $13.8 million to make it all work, but both sides are reportedly motivated to make this happen. Pacers announced yesterday that Tyrese Halliburton, due to that Achilles injury that he suffered in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, will be out all of next season. Magic and Paolo Banchero agree on the terms for a 5-year rookie max extension. It's a 5-year, $239 million max rookie contract extension. Would be worth up to $287 million if Banchero triggers the elevators, like making an All-NBA team, winning MVP, or winning Defensive Player of the Year next season. The deal includes a player option for the final year of the deal in 2030-31. Over on the grass in Wimbledon, Jannik Sinner advanced to the quarterfinals after his opponent was forced to retire due to an injury. At the time, Sinner was trailing by 2 sets. Ben Shelton won his 4th-round match. It sets up a quarterfinal showdown with the world number 1, Jannik Sinner, who also picked up an injury himself in that 4th-round match. Jannik Sinner, that is. Shelton is one of 2 remaining Americans. Taylor Fritz looks to make it to the semis as he just started his match over in Wimbledon just about 8 minutes ago. And in local high school football news, Damari Carter, an athlete from Verina, committed to UVA yesterday. He's a 3-star prospect, according to 247 Sports. A final 3 of UVA, Virginia Tech, and Maryland ultimately decided on UVA. Just to note, Verina gets its season going on August 29th at William Fleming, as the Blue Devils have their eyes set on a state championship. So a lot happening. Ben Shelton got that win. His sister, as we all know, got the week off of work from Morgan Stanley. So he keeps his good luck charm, and it worked out for him yesterday. And he's set up with a showdown with Jannik Sinner, who did also pick up an injury in his 4th-round match. So Jannik Sinner won't be playing at 100%. Shelton has a nice little route to potentially make it to the semis. He could go up against the fellow American Taylor Fritz in the finals if they both make it there.
Didn't Sinner say he thought he was going to lose?
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to say. It's weird to see athletes say that.
He was down 2 sets.
Yeah, I know, but top tier athletes usually don't openly admit that they were going to lose or they thought they'd lose. But yeah, I thought that was the most interesting thing coming out of that particular instance. I was like, wow, he actually said that out loud. That's new.
Yannick Sinner is scheduled for an MRI on his elbow today.
That stinks.
So he hurt his elbow because like he fell on it early on in the first set, was trailing by 2 sets, and everything was showing that he would lose that match.
I still would.
I wouldn't admit it either. I would not admit it either.
I feel like you can't say that out loud. I remember seeing Djokovic lose and admit he didn't lose. like that level of confidence is what you expect from top tier athletes,
especially a sport like tennis, like golf, where you're out there and it's essentially everything falls on you.
Yeah,
you need to have some sort of level of just mental craziness.
Yeah,
and yeah, I think Sinner knows that he's got a tough match now with Shelton, who's playing some of his best tennis.
Back to Manny Machado.
Yeah,
that's my guy. He's always been my guy. I've been a big Manny fan.
Manny balled out.
Me and my friend have had we've been arguing Manny and Arenado since I think they both got into the league.
Manny.
And I've always been team Manny. He's always been team Arenado. But it's funny because he's in San Diego. He doesn't get as much attention nationally as he did when he had his stint with the Dodgers, and even when he was with Baltimore, because they had a little bit of a run with him in Baltimore.
Yeah. And I think he had 3 hits last night. His 1,999th, his 2,000th, and then his 2,001st hit was a home run.
Nice.
In a win. So good for Manny Machado.
And he's only 32, man. That's so crazy. Like, I feel like he's been in the league forever.
He's been in the league for what, probably 12 years now?
Yeah, he started really young.
So
just like Juan Soto is going to be the same way because he started when he was like
19? 18, 19. Yeah, he won the World Series when he was 19, right?
Yeah. So it's
he couldn't legally drink.
By the time he's Aaron Judge's age, we're going to be like, dude, how are you still in the league?
There's going to be a point where we're like, he's the only player to do this, this, and this. And it's like, well, yeah, because he's been in the league for 35 years.
He's gonna have a ton of walks. I know that, but he'll probably never catch Barry.
He'll really get a lot of use of his Soto shuffle. he'll do that a lot.
That goofy shuffle.
Hey, it was fun when they were winning a World Series.
I mean, it's his thing. There's a lot of quirky things in baseball. I never found it to be offensive. I know some people did, but I was like, it's just a quirky like mechanism that he has in his routine.
Look, let me run this idea by you, because I see all the time the purists of baseball talk about Bush League plays and things like that. There was a viral clip going around of what people were calling a Bush League play, where the runner on first tripped, it got the pitcher to look over, and then the runner on third went home without a throw, and people were calling it Bush League.
That's funny.
It's funny. I have an idea. I think we create the Bush League.
Now, there's some Bush League stuff, man.
No, we create the Bush League, and everything in it is Bush League. So I think so. There's no unwritten rules. You can do whatever you want in terms of upholding the integrity of the game. Throw all of that out the window. We just have a Bush League sponsored by Bush Beer. That's my idea. You just create the Bush League. If everyone wants to talk about things being Bush League, just have a Bush League.
Well, it used to mean minor league baseball, essentially, was Bush League.
Sure.
But I mean, obviously they've gotten away from that. But I see what you're saying. Who would be the face of Bush League?
Fernando Tatis. Come on. We're pimping home runs. Jose Bautista would come out of retirement to pimp home runs. That's what I'm saying. You do that. You create your own Bush League. You can pimp home runs. You can do the Soto shuffle as much as you want. You can do those crazy base running things. I think we should create a Bush League.
I don't think the shuffle's Bush League though.
Some people don't like it.
Yeah, but it's the same thing as guys who are in the box. Have you ever noticed like how many times people will like unstrap their
gloves?
Their gloves. Yeah. It's just some people just have this rhythm and mechanism to them. When I played, it wasn't a shuffle, but I would kick my right leg across the batter's box, and reset myself. Like even I knew I was doing it. I don't know why I was doing it, but like every pitch, if I didn't hit it or if it was fouled off, I reset myself, kicking my right leg, and then I take the bat in my left arm and swing it around and reset. Like it was the same rhythm every single time.
And
so
that helps you hit what, 150 in Little League?
No, I was a pretty solid hitter. I've always been a pretty solid hitter, but obviously not professional. But I just feel like some guys just have the quirkiness about them, including that goofy shuffle. It's goofy.
It helped them win a World Series. It helps them settle back in. But look, just create a Bush League. That is my theory. That is. I think I'm going to start that, the ESPN Richmond Bush League.
Make it slow pitch softball.
All right, we'll have fun with it.
No, for real, that would be fun.
And then we'll be tripping on the base paths, trying to get pitchers to look the other way and steal home. And you can't call it Bush League because we would be competing in the Bush League sponsored by Bush Beer.
I just don't understand how that could be Bush League. That's actually creative.
That's what I thought. But probably some purist out there doesn't uphold the rules, the sanctity of baseball.
I saw a clip
of
robot.
We would have robot umpires in the Bush League. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I saw a clip of a guy
pitch clock, bigger
going
bases
from second to third, and there was going to be a ground ball into a double play, and the guy just fielded it himself. The base runner, he just scooped it up himself. Now that I ain't gonna lie, that might be considered Bush League.
He's out.
Yeah,
that's not Bush League. That's just him accepting his fate and just
stop the double play,
speeding up the team. Oh, I see what he did instead of.
Yeah,
hey, that's smart. That's ingenuity.
I didn't see what they called if they called them both out, but I just got a good chuckle out of it.
Could they call the runner at first out?
It's interference, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's not interference by the runner, by the first base runner.
But still, it's
interference by the second. But you can't assume that he would make the throw. Would the first base runner be out?
I feel like he would have been out. I'm gonna have to go back and look now to see what they ruled. Honestly.
I don't think the first base runner would be out.
Man, if they didn't call him out,
if you can't give an error based off of an assumed play that would be made, you can't call an out.
That's true. I don't know. Now I'm curious. I'll find it during break and see if they called him out.
Because it's interference. Now that's a thinker. Now that is a thinker.
That's forward thinking.
That's smart by the guy. Today on the show, we've got a lot of NFL talk. We're going to talk a little bit about quarterbacks on the other side of this break, mainly because Quarterback Season 2 dropped on Netflix following Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and Joe Burrow. And it made me start thinking.
I guess other guys said no, right?
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks said no. The main one, it's funny because the way they're marketing it, it's like, follow Joe Burrow and Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Kirk is just like, I guess I'll do it again. I already did it once when I was in Minnesota. And they have followed two Atlanta Falcons quarterbacks, Marcus Mariota and Kirk Cousins. Both of them got benched when they followed him.
Oh, man.
So maybe if you're an Atlanta Falcons Michael Penix, do not sign up for Season 3 of quarterback. But with that dropping today on Netflix, it made me start thinking, how are we going to view that upper tier of quarterbacks when the season is over? I know we haven't even started the season, but we're already looking ahead to January, February of 2026, and how we'll view that upper tier of quarterbacks when the season is all said and done. That's coming up on the other side of this break, right here, 106.1 ESPN.
Traffic reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at hermanallenplumbing.com.
Your trash is treasure at CNC Colored Recycling. From copper wire to radiator ends, cans to lead batteries, CNC Colored Recycling will pay cash or check for your unwanted scrap metal. No load is too large or too small. Don't dump it, recycle it, and get paid at CNC Colored Recycling, just south of Maple Street on Route 1 in Ashland. Free local container service is available too. CNC Colored Recycling, open every weekday and a half day on Saturday. Check the latest cash scrap prices online right now at cccullet.com. That's CCCULLET.
Looking for a neighborhood service station that can provide premium fuel for your car, auto repairs, and friendly advice? Stop by the family-owned Bon Air Show, 8762 West Huguenot Road.
Golf season is here. Whether it's your first round of the year or the next round, make sure you're playing it at Hunting Hawk Golf Club. We're offering special pricing this summer on outings for civic organizations, churches, kids' athletic teams, or your own special fundraiser. Also, now is the time to start signing up for your fall golf outings. For more information or to book a tee time, give us a call at 804-749-1900 or visit online at huntinghawkgolf.com.
Summertime in RVA means Richmond Kickers soccer games at City Stadium. Family fun, food trucks, and men's soccer action on the field. Tickets online at richmondkickers.com.
Amber and Ian.
just to get it all caught up. We got the about to be 6-year-old. We got the 6-month-old. We got 2 out of 3 goldfish. We've added the puppy waiting on the partridge in a pear tree. Damn, woman, you got a lot going on.
We do have a lot going on. We rescued a puppy. We also have a almost 14-year-old dog. This is going to be an adjustment period. But yes, we are living in a house of chaos.
Amber, Indiana. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on Sirius XM Channel 80. Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
He's got Derrick Henry. He's got other weapons. Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. The defense took a big step up last year, and now you add Jair Alexander. You have a head coach who's won a Super Bowl. If it's not Lamar Jackson, I don't know who has more pressure on him heading into this season.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday morning starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. 1061 ESPN traffic.
Expect merging delays on 195 northbound between Laburnum Avenue and Bryant Park Interchange. Some touch-and-go traffic heading east on 64 between Staples Mill Road and Bryant Park Interchange. And an accident has the right shoulder blocked off heading north on 95, approaching the 64 merge, causing heavy traffic backing up from Bells Road.
Score big with the 1061 ESPN app. Listen live anywhere. Crystal clear coverage, breaking news, and Richmond's rowdiest sports debates. Tap in and turn it up.
Did you figure out what they ruled it? Was it runner interference or was it double play?
I did not. The clip that I had watched ends after the guy picks up the ball and jogs back to the dugout.
That's a bummer.
I know. I'll keep searching.
What game was it?
It was some minor league game.
Oh, we'll never find that.
You never know.
That's lost to the days of time. There is probably one person in the world that has the stats for that game.
You never know.
I know pretty well. Minor league baseball, it's for the vibes.
I mean, I could always just look up the official rules too, but
yeah, but that's not fun.
Yeah, who wants to do that?
They probably even didn't call it correct according to the official rules because that's probably never happened before.
I would imagine
if you
very
work in baseball long enough, you'll see. I mean, granted, probably every baseball game you go to, you'll see something you've never seen before.
No, that's true.
It's that type of sport. So quarterbacks going into the NFL season. We're already looking ahead to February of 2026. When the 2025 season is all said and done, what quarterbacks are going to be in the upper tier? What quarterbacks will we have fallen out of love with? And there's 2 quarterbacks that have 2 options with how 2025 will play out for them. Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams, they will either live up to the hype or become labeled as official busts. That is what this season is going to leave for Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams. But first, at the end of the 2025 season, which QBs will be in that upper tier, the tier of best in the league? I think we can all agree Patrick Mahomes will be up there, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Jaden Daniels is going to join that tier. At the end of the 2025 season, Jaden Daniels is going to be part of that upper tier, that upper echelon of quarterbacks. I think he will ball out this year. Now, he may not have some of the same gaudy stats as he did last year. The Commanders may not have as much postseason success as they did last year, mainly because there's tape out now on Jaden Daniels, and the Commanders have such a more difficult schedule than they did last season. So there's a good chance that on paper they look worse, but if you actually watch them with the eye test, they'll be better. But Jaden Daniels will be a upper tier quarterback in the NFL. I think right now he's already knocking on the door. I think by week 5, he'll have busted down the door and be in that upper tier, joining the likes of Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. I know some people might even think Jaden Daniels might be in the MVP conversation here coming up at the end of this season. I know we talked with Sia from Sportsline with CBS Sports. That's kind of his under-the-radar dark horse MVP pick right now because there's a lot of value on Jaden Daniels. If you're into sports betting, if you're into betting those futures, a lot of value on Jaden Daniels. At least there was a month and a half ago when we talked with him. But Jaden Daniels has the makings to be a baller and just in that upper tier, that's a quarterback that you can win with. You can win despite what your team is. Patrick Mahomes hasn't had a wide receiver in 4 years since they traded Tyreek Hill. He had Rashee Rice for half of a season, and last season he had DeAndre Hopkins, an aged DeAndre Hopkins, who I think now is with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. So see how that one works out. But it is a quarterback that can rise your team up, and despite everything else that's happening on your team, he will lead you to wins. And Jaden Daniels will become part of that upper tier at the conclusion of the season. I think there are 2 quarterbacks this year as well that the public is going to fall out of love with. CJ Stroud is one of them. CJ Stroud had so much love around him after the 2020, 2020?
His rookie season.
3 season? Yeah, his rookie season. A lot of love around him. Heck, Bobby Slowick was being mentioned as a potential head coaching candidate.
He did get interviews.
Where's Bobby Slowick now? The unemployment? No, he landed somewhere. He landed on his feet as probably like an offensive quality control analyst.
Actually, I don't think he did.
Oh, really? Maybe back. He's back at PFF. They hired him from PFF. He's back at PFF now. But CJ Stroud is in a very, very interesting position because technically the record was the same from his rookie year to his sophomore year. Numbers were very similar. Record was very similar, but how it was done very different compared from 2023 to 2024. And now you've traded away Laramie Tunsil. You've kind of torn down your entire offensive line. Now, there wasn't a lot to tear down because that offensive line for the Houston Texans last season was one of the worst in the NFL. They allowed quick pressure at one of the highest rates in the NFL. So CJ Stroud was really just running around for his life, trying everything. But when you're talking about national perception, the offensive line isn't always factored into that equation. And I think for CJ Stroud, he's going to have a difficulty overcoming another bad year of offensive line play. No, it's no slight to CJ, but the public is just going to fall out of love with him. I think if he gets out to a slow start, they'll quickly turn on Stroud.
Slowick is the senior passing game coordinator for the Dolphins. Would we consider that landing on your feet?
We're going to be talking about some of the comments that have been made around the Miami Dolphins later on in News or Snooze. So I don't think that's landing on your feet.
I'm still stuck on the Trevor Lawrence thing. Big fan of Sunshine from day one, back when he was even in high school.
Yeah. So,
but I think, what is he on, his third coach?
He's on his third coach in 4 years.
Third coach in 4 years.
5 years.
He was going into his 5th year. He was drafted number 1 overall. You expect people drafted there to be franchise defining players or changing the trajectory of the Jags. And a lot of that's not on him, but at the end of the day, I think we can say he's a bust.
So that's kind of the question with Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams. They were both labeled generational talents, which in and of itself does not make sense because you cannot have 2 quarterbacks that are generational talents coming out within 5 years of one another. But do they, with Trevor Lawrence, you got a new coach in Liam Cohen. He's thought of as a great offensive mind in the NFL. He helped keep Baker Mayfield one of the top quarterbacks, kind of one of the top surprising quarterbacks this last year. He worked with Sean McVay and with the Rams. I think he started at Kentucky and helped make helped make Will Levis what Will Levis became and was somehow a first-round draft pick. But you get that this year. You have your toys, you have your weapons. Brian Thomas Jr. looks like a great, great wide receiver for years to come in the NFL. Travis Hunter, still yet to be seen if he'll primarily take snaps at wide receiver or defensive back. But you've got a lot of weapons there in Jacksonville. Does Trevor Lawrence live up to the hype and finally look like the franchise quarterback that was so promised? As Nick Wright on Fox Sports 1 nicknames him, will he look like the prince that was promised? Or will he be just complete bust? And they've already signed him to the extension. So the Jacksonville Jaguars last offseason inked Trevor Lawrence to a long-term extension.
Oh, that is his name, the prince who was promised.
You didn't believe me?
No, I did. I mean, I've always called him Sunshine.
Yeah, Sunshine's another nickname.
Yeah,
it is.
I thought that's what we were sticking with. The prince who was promised.
Nick Wright started Prince.
I'm looking at Pro Football Reference, like at his stats, and I was like, wow. I think, for him, it's all up top. Like, it's his approach to the game. He has way too much confidence in his arm. And that was evident his
At
rookie
Clemson.
season. Yeah. At Clemson, though, like that's the difference between college and the NFL, though. You can get away with that kind of stuff in the NFL in college.
Yeah.
Like I go back
Especially
to
in the ACC.
Yeah, Ohio State and Michigan last year. Michigan, because they got Wink Martindale as their defensive coordinator, they play pretty much a very aggressive NFL kind of style of play. And Will Howard struggled when he had to make those tight window throws,
Good luck,
and it was
Steelers.
like man-to-man coverage, and it was outside the hash marks, which is typically what you see NFL quarterbacks do routinely. Like that's where they're going most of the time in those situations. And you know, I look at Trevor Lawrence, and he kind of had that same mentality where it's like you know you can't make that throw. His case is down the field. Like you know you can't make that throw in the double coverage, 35, 40 yards down the field. You know you shouldn't throw it, but you do it anyway. And it's like, come on, man.
Well, it's like the playoff game that he has, the win, 4 interceptions.
Yeah, if Cohen can get in his head and get him to dial it back some, I think he can be a very good quarterback. Like
I think he can be a top half NFL quarterback, top third.
He had one season where he was like highly efficient. I think he threw like it was his touchdown to interception ratio was almost 3-1.
First year with Doug Peterson looked
Yeah.
like he had turned the corner after an abysmal year with Urban Meyer.
Yeah, so I have faith in him, and obviously we know he's a winner. But I just go back to him in particular because it seems like we give him we've given him a pretty long leash, man.
We've given him maybe one of the longest leashes I can remember.
People are writing off Caleb Williams after one season with Eberflus, and this guy's on his third coach in 4 years,
Yeah.
and we're like, is he still going to do it? Is he? You know, he could turn the corner, and that's everywhere. I'm like, why is that? Hold him accountable like you hold everybody else accountable.
That is a great question. Why is that? Because the next quarterback that I have a huge question for is Caleb Williams. Will he live up to the hype, or will he become labeled a bust?
It's tough for me on that one because I don't like Ben Johnson, but I need Ben Johnson to save Caleb Williams.
But it just also goes to show how important coaching is for these people, because Trevor Lawrence has been set up to fail because he started his NFL career with Urban Meyer, which is still head scratching that they even went that route with him. But so he started his career with Urban Meyer. Things did not go well with him, as it has been well documented. And now he's on his third coach, and Doug Peterson was the wrong hire as well. And it has put Trevor Lawrence behind the 8 ball so much. I think a lot of his inefficiencies as a quarterback really aren't because of him. It's because of the system and the culture that he has been in ever since stepping foot in Jacksonville. For Caleb Williams, that just shows how important Ben Johnson is to him. Does Caleb have the ability to play within structure? Does Caleb Williams have the ability to be just a typical 1-2-3 step, hit my slant, hit Rome Odunze, hit DJ Moore, or does he have to play kind of this jazz music type of game where he's rolling out, he's holding onto the ball for 6+ seconds? That is going to be the interesting part of Ben Johnson and how he's able to adapt his offense to Caleb Williams, and how Caleb Williams is able to adapt to Ben Johnson's offense. And then if they're able to do that, I think they live up to the hype.
I think if you're a coordinator or a coach, you need to adapt your stuff to the quarterback's ability. I think the old way was to make the quarterback adapt to what you did, but that led to a lot of failures. There's a couple examples across the league where people have kind of dialed back some things and tweaked some things to make it fit their personnel. I would say for Ben, I think he's capable of doing that. And that is more so on the run game, because he had 2 different style of runners and he was able to come up with something for both of them.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah. So like the Jared Goff thing, Goff is going to be Goff. But I think with Caleb Williams, you have to understand the air raid school that he came from. They do make you hold the ball a little long in that system, and you know, in college you do have a lot of time, but there's been plenty of examples in our modern era of college or professional
NFL,
football that people have adjusted. Right, Patrick Mahomes is one of the main ones. Baker Mayfield's
Russell
another
Wilson.
guy.
Like Russell Wilson
yeah.
had so much success being a pat the ball 3 times and throw it deep.
Guys who in college held the ball too long. And were able to make adjustments and you know, get acclimated with the league. And also that came from coaching, right? That came from guys put them in systems that required them to get the ball out their hands quicker. There was a lot of times last year, and I'm saying this, seeing the Bears in Washington and seeing them on TV too. There's a lot of times where they did not design plays that were like smart, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have a good offensive line, and you also have a quarterback who's already got this tendency to hold on to the ball too long, and you're sending guys 15, 20 yards down the field.
You need quick developing plays. That's the other part, because last year their coaching was bad and their offensive line was bad. So it gave Caleb Williams an out. It gave him an ability to, not him himself, but us as the media kind of gave Caleb Williams the out. This year, he's being coached by what is thought of as one of the best offensive minds in the NFL right now. And they bolstered that offensive line pretty well, where it should be considerably better than what it was in 2024. So he doesn't really have an out. So if Caleb Williams fails this year, then quickly he will become labeled a bust. And I think that's the difference between Caleb and Trevor, and why Trevor Lawrence has been able to last this long going into year 5, and we're still not sure if he's a good quarterback or not, because he's had these built-in outs. Urban Meyer was bad. Doug Peterson, year 1, he was actually good. Doug Peterson, year 2, not that great. Or is he going? Yeah. Year 4, something like that. But there were built-in outs for Trevor Lawrence. Caleb Williams no longer has those built-in outs. The Chicago Bears put, like it or not, how they handled their offseason, they put a place in for Caleb Williams to have success. So he needs to have success.
Yeah, it's a good investment. The thing about him that you worry about too as well is the amount of hits he took last year, because it's not necessarily sacks. You get knocked to the ground.
He was the most sacked quarterback since David Carr with the expansion.
He had
Texans.
he got sacked 70 times or something like that. Yeah,
55 plus, and then hit.
So imagine how many times he got hit on top of getting sacked. You do worry about him having a jacked up internal clock. I hope Ben takes it slow with him. I hope Caleb's willing to do that. It sounds like he is. He says all the right things. He's working with Tom Brady. I know a lot of people don't think this, but Tom Brady's been an excellent mentor to a couple guys already.
Tom Brady, great mentor, not a great commentator.
Yeah, which is fine. Maybe his calling is on the sideline. He doesn't know it yet.
Fair.
But I have high hopes for him. I just think that if we're gonna have these questions about him being a bust, Trevor Lawrence needs to be labeled a bust. And if he's already 4 years in, he's gotten his extension and everything. He doesn't have a ton of success. He doesn't even have the stats to back it up. Like Joe Burrow, even if you take his Super Bowl run out, he has the statistics to back it up.
The best quarterback in the NFL last year on stats.
Yeah, so I'm like, you don't even have the stats, man. And I'm a fan. Again, I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I love Sunshine, but
it is a big, probably the biggest year out of any quarterback out there is for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I would think
you need a playoff win or two to avoid being labeled a bust. And you have to have a good season, because you also have the talent around you. Brian Thomas Jr. is a darn good wide receiver.
No, he's had weapons. He has some talent.
He's got some talent. So
they did overpay Kirk, but he has some talent.
Put up or shut up year for both, more so for Trevor Lawrence, but also put up or shut up year for Caleb Williams as he heads into year 2 in Chicago now with what is thought of as one of the best offensive minds in the NFL, and Ben Johnson. All right, let's get a break in here. We'll be back on the other side. A little news or snooze on this Tuesday, July 8th morning. Stay with us.
Summertime in RVA means one thing. Golf season is here. If you're looking for the perfect golf course, head over to Queenfield Golf Club, located just a few minutes east of Mechanicsville. Queenfield offers a beautifully secluded 18-hole course, spacious driving range, and professionally maintained practice greens and bunkers. Schedule your tee time today by calling 804-769-8838 or reserve a spot online at queenfieldgolf.com and make Queenfield Golf Club your new favorite course.
It's bow time. Sure, you've had a sausage biscuit before, but have you had the smoked sausage biscuit from Bojangles? Well, now is your chance. Juicy, slow-cooked smoked sausage is grilled to perfection and served on a fluffy, made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. No one does breakfast like Bojangles, and this smoked sausage biscuit doesn't disappoint. Right now, you can get 2 for just $5. Start your day with this flavor-packed deal while it lasts. It's bow time.
See website for details. Bills happen is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? We need some extra cash.
We should do what my friend from work did. She went to billshappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
Bills Happen is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to BillsHappen.com and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
Earlier on Clinton and Friends.
There's a lot going on around the Commanders in the nation's capital at this point, and it's actually football related, which is a minor miracle at this stage of the game. Jaden Daniels is a very popular player. There's a lot going on here. I'm very interested to see how this develops on and off the field for the Commanders for sure. This is number one on my list for reasons that are not just personal.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Weather reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at hermanallenplumbing.com.
106.1 ESPN weather.
Taking a look at today's forecast, currently feels like 85 degrees, but it's actually 79 with clear sunny skies. A low today of 75 and a high of 95, but will feel like 97 around 4 p.m. Clear skies are expected to continue throughout the day with some chances of thunderstorms later tonight. And taking a look at tomorrow, temperatures dropping a little bit with a high of 89 and a low of 75.
Hey, my name is Wally Rayner, former NFL linebacker. Wahoo Wah. Hey, I'm here in Richmond, and when I'm riding around, I listen to Border to Border at 106.1 ESPN.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill rolling right along on this Tuesday, July 8th morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside. And as always, it's time for a little Newsers News. 3 headlines / storylines around the world of sports that we share if they're either newsworthy or snooze-worthy. You ready for it?
News or snooze.
All right, number 1, Mike Brown brings championship pedigree to the New York Knicks. Snoozeworthy, massively snoozeworthy, puts me to sleep.
I told you that's what they would say.
I know, and that's why it's snoozeworthy. Winning a championship as an assistant coach is so different than winning a championship as a head coach.
He won championships.
Yeah, cool. He also had 4 Hall of Famers.
You know?
I go, all right. Cool. If he didn't win a championship as an assistant coach with 4 Hall of Famers, then what are we doing? Come on. Championship pedigree. Sure, it's awesome that he has experienced what it feels like to touch the Larry O'Brien trophy. Sure, that's awesome. But he's never led the team to do that. He has assisted the leader of the team to do that. And I'm not saying that this Mike Brown hiring is horrible, but if that is the reason for why they made this hire, or if it's one of the major reasons, bringing a championship pedigree to Madison Square Garden, I don't think that's something the Knicks should be hyping up and should be hanging their hats on.
So this is the part where we go back to the expectations, and if they don't get so far, they fail, etc. It's the Knicks, man. This is the type of stuff that they celebrate. This is the type of stuff they get excited about.
Because when was the last time they won a championship?
They don't know any better as a franchise. So this is the bar. And I mean, what can we? I can't judge them or be mad at them for doing what I expect them to do. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I know it's what is expected, and this was what they were gonna do.
Yeah, this is exactly what they were gonna do.
But man,
fire Tibbs, get Mike Brown championship pedigree. Let's go, guys. This is our year. Run it back with Mike Brown.
Bring me LeBron James, and all of this can be forgotten.
I mean, they're not going to win a championship with LeBron.
Yeah, they will. I mean,
they'll get there. Probably
they would get there.
Yeah, because
if LeBron gets back into the East, if he played 3 more years, he's making it to the finals 3 more times.
Yeah, and I bet you he wouldn't win one.
Winning is overrated.
Clearly for you guys and everybody else that backs him. But I mean, I don't think he would win one because it doesn't change the West. The West is still going to be better. Yeah,
but at the end of it, Mike Brown, bringing LeBron over would bring more of a championship pedigree than bringing Mike Brown.
Oh, of course. I wouldn't argue that.
I'm just saying. Like, it is wild that this is the storyline. I think it was Alan Hahn who's like saying all of this.
Hey, don't put us in this. Just Mr. Hahn.
Does he not like, don't put the Allens in this?
Yeah, don't put the Allens in
Does Alan Hahn not like being called Allen? But then I remembered, yes, the Allen contingent that is here at ESPN.
We do not stand by that headline.
So he's talking about, but so snoozeworthy. All right, number 2, and I have for number 2 and number 3, I've got a couple sound bites that I'm going to play as well to go along with it. But number 2 is from CBS Sports. Urban Meyer rejects college football GM position after conversations, issues sharp warning. Snoozeworthy. Could you imagine Urban Meyer as a GM?
Hold on, I gotta hit the snooze. That's hilarious.
So this is what Urban Meyer said.
I can't wait to hear this
about being offered a general. This was with Jim Nagy. Jim Nagy used to be of the Seattle Seahawks, then was the head guy.
President for the Reese's Senior Bowl.
Not Reese's anymore.
I know, man. We lost Nagy and we lost.
That's why he left.
Yeah.
So Jim Nagy is actually one of the best scouts out there.
He truly is.
One of the best scouts. So he's now the GM at Oklahoma, and he came on the Triple Option podcast with just Rob Stone, Urban Meyer, and Mark Ingram. Name a more interesting collection of 3 people.
That literally made me laugh out loud.
Wow. That is such a weird.
Who put
that together?
Yeah,
they've been doing it for about a year now, and they're actually not bad because they're part of the Big Noon Kickoff crew.
Yeah,
and so it's like an extension of that.
Yeah,
but just Mark Ingram being part of this podcast is maybe one of the funniest things.
That's the problem right there.
But this is what Urban Meyer said his reaction was when he sat down and they told him the job description.
I don't know if I even told Rob and Mark this, but I had a school come see me this year and asked if I wanted to be the GM and a couple other phone calls. And you start to think, okay, they actually came to see me. And so I said, yeah, we'll meet and I'll sit down with you guys. And I said, okay, what is the job description? They said, well, basically you handle all the, you meet with all the agents of the 17, 18-year-olds. And I thought, I'd rather step on a rusty nail and pull it out what in the, but if that's what you got to do, Jim, God bless you, brother.
He'd rather step on a rusty nail and pull it out himself. Classic Urban Meyer. Good job. But just imagine Urban Meyer as the GM of, say, I don't know, Alabama, Auburn, Florida State, Ohio State, Michigan, like any of these big name programs. Just so funny. Just the fact that Urban Meyer was even approached. The dude was a complete failure in the NFL and then would probably be a complete failure as a GM. But the way he reacts and laughs about that also is very funny, considering that we know he was paying players when he was at Florida. We know he was working with people. He was working with high schoolers to get them paid.
I don't know if he'd be a failure at the college level because he recruited some really talented people.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be dealing with the recruiting as much as he would be trying to
he would just find, honestly,
he reminds me of the old school people who are like, they shouldn't be paid. Well, so he would try to get as little money to them as possible.
Well, the humor I find in it is him scoffing at it because he would do the same thing he did as a coach. He'd just have a team underneath them and they would do all that. He wouldn't directly do that.
Yeah, he would.
Urban didn't go sit in a lot of living rooms. I mean, Nick, I think, did.
Nick,
I think he had a more personal,
the blind side.
Yeah, I think he had a more personal approach to some of the things than Urban did. Urban had a machine. He had a system, you know?
And he was kind of already acting as a GM. Maybe that's why they wanted him.
Those dudes were knuckleheads, like straight up, especially in Florida. I think it got cleaner in Ohio State, but in Florida, they were knuckleheads.
They were, yeah. And then my third one, which is kind of newsworthy, Asante Samuel Jr. landing spots. Dolphins likely out after father rips franchise for having, quote, no backbone. That's from CBS Sports. Kind of newsworthy for a couple of reasons.
We don't have a kind of newsworthy.
All right, then this one's newsworthy. This one's newsworthy. Kind of. So the Dolphins have reportedly expressed some interest in Asante Samuel Jr., who is right now one of the best defensive backs out on the free agent market. And Asante Samuel had a good start to his NFL career, then just kind of never really grew into what the Los Angeles Chargers were wanting out of him. So now he's out there on the free agent market. Couple teams have been expressing interest. The Miami Dolphins have an Asante Samuel Jr. sized hole on their roster after trading away Jalen Ramsey. They brought in Minka Fitzpatrick, but they have a huge need for defensive back. However, Asante Samuel, his father, who, as you may know, Mr. Pick Six, whatever nicknames else he gives him from the Patriots, and where else did he play? Asante Samuel, the Eagles? Eagles. So he goes on his podcast, Say What Needs to Be Said, and I guess this needed to be said about the Miami Dolphins.
Defense. And the Dolphins had no reason to trade Jalen Ramsey other than they're sensitive. There's no leadership in the Dolphins organization. Mike McDaniels is a pushover. Chris Greer, the general manager, he has no backbone. These guys over here, the Miami Dolphins, they are running this team like a little league team. No one can stand up to the players. They're terrified of their own players, and they have no control over their players. So let's check out this article from.
Wow. Those are some big words coming from Asante Samuel.
Yeah, I don't think Mike McDaniels is necessarily a pusher. He's not a rah-rah guy, but
I don't either. Like, that's the crazy thing.
yeah,
So
I haven't seen any instances of that.
It's kind of newsworthy for two reasons. One, Asante Samuel saying this essentially takes the Dolphins out, because I highly doubt the Dolphins are going to bring in the son of Asante Samuel, who is that vocal on his podcast, which is a bummer for the Dolphins because they need an Asante Samuel Jr. type, because they don't really have any defensive backs on this roster. But is this also a larger problem? Like, we haven't really heard of this, but is this the reputation you think the Dolphins have around the league? Because if that is the case, then I understand why Miami's struggling to keep Jalen Ramsey in-house and is struggling to go out there and land free agents. If this is the reputation the Dolphins have around the league, that's not good for Miami. And things could go from bad to worse real quick for Mike McDaniel and company there in Miami.
I think the reputation that they have is that they don't appreciate players who perform well. More than anything, Raheem Mostert, when he tweeted out congratulations to Jalen Ramsey and was it Jonnu Smith?
Yeah,
that I feel like that's the reputation that they have, is that they don't appreciate guys that perform at a high level. They don't want to pay you or invest in you.
Was it Christopher Wilkins?
Yeah, Wilkins as well. Like
goes to the Raiders.
Yeah, they don't want to invest in you or anything like that. They're just
they're cheap
unless you're Tua. Like, that's the reputation that I feel like they have. And Mike McDaniel seems like he's a player's coach. So,
but apparently no leadership. The GM has no backbone.
I mean, there probably is a lack of leadership, but I couldn't imagine that there's no backbone in Miami, considering that they told Jalen Ramsey, we'll just trade you then. That's fine. Like that wasn't much of a fight. It was just like, yeah, sure. If you want out, fine. We'll honor that.
Even Jonnu, who was like, I'm going to the last year of my contract, I want more. And they were like, well, no, we're not giving you more. And
yeah, they took a firm stance and they were like, well, we'll trade you then.
I wonder if they're doing some behind the scenes stuff with Asante Samuel Jr. that Asante Samuel doesn't like maybe try to get him to sign a cheaper deal, or maybe
I wouldn't trust the owner, Ross. I wouldn't trust him at all.
Ross is probably one of the biggest problem owners out there. And he never gets covered because Miami's never really that good.
Yeah, he hasn't done enough just yet to really tick off everybody else. But
he just tried to lure Tom Brady out of retirement. And what else? He did a bunch of collusion stuff.
Yeah, the
Brian Flores stuff.
Yeah, the tanking thing, which, I mean, I think a lot of them.
They all do.
Yeah. I don't think that was as big of a deal.
No, but it was just that it became public.
Yeah.
That was the issue. Yeah. It became public, and then Brian Flores was upset, rightfully so, because he felt like he was fired because he didn't tank. And then a lot of other things happened behind the scenes around it, where the Giants had already hired Brian Daboll, and Bill Belichick accidentally texted the wrong Brian. That was good times. That was good times.
That was a crazy offseason.
That offseason, Daboll goes from the Buffalo Bills to the New York Giants. They interviewed Daboll. They had already apparently hired him behind the scenes, but to fill out the Rooney Rule, which requires teams to interview at least one minority candidate, still had to interview Brian Flores, but it was essentially a sham interview just to fulfill the Rooney Rule. And Belichick had accidentally texted the wrong Brian Flores congratulating him. That's a bad look. And that's just after Flores gets fired because he didn't, quote, according to Flores, he didn't tank like Stephen Ross asked him, the owner of the Miami Dolphins. So that's all hanging over Miami. Then they hired Mike McDaniel. He's had some ups and downs. And if this is the reputation the Dolphins have from the inner circle of players, that's not a great look. We know the reputation they have in the media and from the outside looking in. And Asante Samuel does say some crazy things on his podcast. I mean, he got into a full-on argument with Deion Sanders, and it's a good podcast. It's a pretty good podcast. It gives clips, but he says some crazy things. So I do wonder how much of this is actually the reputation of the Dolphins that they have around the league, or how much of this is an angry father who's upset that they aren't paying Asante Samuel Jr. what he thinks they should be paying him.
Yeah, and I think if you're the Dolphins, excuse my French, to hell with his dad thinks, man. The guy's really good. I'll put him on my team if I can get him on my team. I don't care what his dad says.
I was kind of shocked that Asante Samuel Jr. is still a free agent. Like, I know he wasn't cornerback 1, but he's a serviceable cornerback 2 or cornerback 3 even. Like, I'd love to have him on the Seahawks.
Maybe there's some medical stuff going on that we don't know about.
Maybe he's still asking for a lot of money. And at this point in free agency, sometimes you just wait it out for training camps to start, stay in shape, and then when an injury happens, you can force a little bit more money. Maybe that's what they're trying to do.
You know what hurt him? He played for Brandon Staley. That's what hurt him. Seriously. He played for Brandon Staley, man.
Poor Brandon Staley, former JMU defensive coordinator. Fun fact. Brandon Staley used to be the defensive coordinator at JMU. But yeah, Brandon Staley, that was a rough stint. I always had hope that Brandon Staley would be a good defensive coordinator or good head coach for the Chargers. And it just never panned out. It never panned out.
Absolutely too nice about that. He was just as bad as Eberflus. He was awful.
I always had hope for Brandon Staley. My JMU love runs deep.
That's you can love him, but you ain't gotta.
Now I understand. He's one of the worst defensive coordinators, one of the worst defensive minds in all of the NFL. And is he still with the 49ers?
Oh God, I think he is, but he's far away.
Down. I think he's got analyst attached to his name now.
Yeah,
all right.
Watching film.
Hour number 2 is just around the corner. We're going to talk a little Patrick Mahomes. Top college rivalries. The Athletic just dropped the top 100 college football rivalries. React to a couple of those and some NBA storylines that have been coming out over the last day or so. A trade, a buyout, and everything in between. Stay locked right here, 106.1 ESPN. This is Fitz the Bill on Tuesday, July 8th.
106.1 ESPN, home of Border to Border with Matt Josephs. Dive into Virginia's hottest sports topics daily. Agree or argue. Matt's got the takes you can't ignore.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-498-6548. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-498-6548. That's 800-498-6548. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Robinson's Plumbing Service is celebrating the red, white, and blue throughout July by offering 10% off repairs or replacements of any water heater. Depending on the unit you choose, that's a potential savings of $100 up to $500. Mention promo code Red Hot Savings at the time of booking to claim this limited time offer. Get red hot savings on hot water heaters by booking your Robinson's Plumbing Service appointment by calling 794-0918. That's 794-0918.
Robinson's Plumbing Service is looking for great plumbing technicians to join the Robinson's Plumbing Service family. A prime candidate must value being on time, consider their work at craft, and have a great work ethic. Robinson's Plumbing Service offers a great benefit package, which includes health insurance, vacation, and a retirement plan. Submit an application online at robinsonsplumbingservice.com. That's robinsonsplumbingservice.com. Robinson's Plumbing Service is an equal opportunity employer.
We're home to the Atlanta Braves, live on W291CL Lakeside Richmond and WURV HD2 Richmond. Every swing, every win. Stay locked on 1061 ESPN. You're listening to the second hour of Fitz the Bill on 1061 ESPN.
Welcome back in. Hour number 2 of Fitz the Bill, rolling right along on this Tuesday, July 8th morning. Thank you for clocking in, getting your day started with us right here from the capital of the Commonwealth. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside. If you're listening on 1061, the ESPN Richmond app, or ESPNRichmond.com, appreciate you getting your day started with us that way. And you can also watch on YouTube. Just type in ESPN Richmond in the search bar. It will pop right on up, and you can watch the stream live there. And while you're there, might as well hit subscribe. Might as well head on over to Fitz the Bill, ESPN RVA, and subscribe there as well, so you never miss any of the action that's coming out from ESPN Richmond or Fitz the Bill. We're also over on Instagram, both ESPN Richmond and Fitz the Bill, ESPN RVA, and we'd appreciate a follow over there because why not? It's social media. Just to throw us a like. So appreciate you getting your day started. And you can also comment on YouTube and be part of the show that way, or you can call or text in. Here to start hour number 2, we're going to keep the NFL conversation going because Patrick Mahomes was on Up and Adams the other week and was talking about the approach that they have going into 2025. This was going to be a news or snooze, Alan. This was originally going to be in the news or snooze portion of it, but I thought dogging on the Knicks a little bit for Mike Brown probably fit better than talking Chiefs quarterback, because he said, quote, "Let's just play football," as the Chiefs and Mahomes are ready to leave the Super Bowl loss behind in 2025, which makes sense considering it was one of the worst blowouts in a Super Bowl in quite some time. So it would make sense that he's ready to leave that loss behind as they enter into 2025, and that he, quotes, wants to just play football. All of that makes sense. This is what he said on the Up and Adams show earlier this week with Kay Adams on FanDuel TV.
Again, whenever you lose, you kind of have this taste in your mouth that you want to go out there and revenge that or whatever you want to say. But at the same time, I feel like I've had to sit back and just listen to people talk. And I'm like, let's just play football and just handle it all out there. And I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to go out and show who we are as a Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, that makes sense. He also went on to talk about what the key to success will be this season. And he said, it's just us having fun. I will say Mahomes has mastered the art of quarterback speak, but he said it's always been fun playing on the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what makes it special. I feel like last year, I don't want to say it was pressure, but guys wanted to go out there and win every single week, not for the fun of the game, but just because we're supposed to. Let's go out there and have fun. The wins will come if we play the way we know we can play.
I'll back him on that, though.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's funny because, like, I think it's just us having fun again. Like, it is very quarterback speak, coach speak, but that's always a common refrain that you hear from teams who've tried to repeat. In the case of the Chiefs, three-peat.
Yeah, because you put a lot of stress on you, man. Like, that's one thing people don't talk about with winning, man. It's harder to sustain it than it is to like achieve it. Yeah. So like getting to a Super Bowl is an achievement, and that's great. But how many people have went back to back, or how many people have only been to one Super Bowl? In his case, he went to 3 in a row, right? Like, man, they were on the cusp of a three-peat. I think, especially keeping that core together, guys it'll wear on you a little bit more. And it's like almost like you're not only going against, say, an Eagles, but you're going against the ghost of whoever you're chasing, or even the ghost of your team last year, right? There is added pressure. for those situations.
And all of last year, that was the case. They were chasing the ghost of 2023 because they were like, well, this team isn't winning the right way. They're not doing it the right way.
It was ugly.
It was very ugly. But hey, they won what, like 15 games last season?
They still found a way to
they
do
were
it.
winning every week, and they somehow found their way to the Super Bowl, and they somehow did it. And I see how that's wearing on you because you always hear that. I mean, Sean McVay nearly retired from coaching football because they won the Super Bowl, and he said he lifted up the Lombardi trophy, and it didn't feel good. It felt like a relief more than it felt like celebratory.
And I can see that, man. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Even Bill Belichick talks about that, how in their dynasty runs, it was never like, we did it. It was like, all right, back to work. We got to do it again.
Well, it's like in some of those old like war movies, you see the like main character, he's fought so long he doesn't know how to get acclimated to regular life. He struggles. Like essentially, like these guys have lived on the edge for a whole season. They got to the pinnacle. Now what? Right? There's always that now what for a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it's hard for some of these guys to make that adjustment, turn it off, turn it back on, and things like that. So I can see where mentally it would weigh on you a little bit, but also as fans and people who want to see other people win or former athletes, like, dude, you won the Super Bowl. What's better than one?
Twice.
Two. Like, what's better than 2? 3. What's better than 3, 4, right? Like, that mentality is easier said than done, essentially.
Yeah. I do think this Chiefs team is going to be much better than last year's Chiefs team because I think they're going out there and they are going to have that mindset that he said of just having fun. And if they have fun and they play the game that they're supposed to play, the wins will come rather than focusing on winning. And with that, granted, you get a healthy Rashee Rice, barring any type of suspension, because we're still waiting to hear what the outcome of his speeding ticket that got into a massive crash. I don't think it didn't kill anyone, thankfully, but that's still kind of floating out there. So there could be a suspension coming for Rashee Rice. But they bring him back. They re-signed Hollywood Brown. They've got a better receiving core this year than they did last year. And I think with that and the fact that they're not playing with this three-peat over their head, I really think the Chiefs are going to come out and play some of their best football that we've seen in quite some time.
It just depends on the offensive line. And
that's true. They traded away Joe Thuney to the Bears.
And if we're being honest, or at least me personally, I don't think they can beat the Eagles. I don't think they can beat them just because they don't have it up front in the trenches.
Man, I think Jalen Hurts is going to.
It's not about Hurts. It's not about the Eagles offense. It's about the Eagles defense. Yeah. Like that's the one thing that can get. It's the same with Tom Brady when he used to play the Giants. It wasn't Eli per se.
It was Michael Strahan.
It was Michael Strahan. Those guys up front, like they gave them.
Justin Tucker.
Yeah, they gave the Patriots Fitz. They made it difficult for them, and then guys hung around, and then they end up getting the clutch throw or play from Eli and the offense, and that was enough to win. It's to me, it's the same concept with the Chiefs. Like they have to get back to the basics the next time they play the Eagles. And they have to understand that the core element of Andy Reid's offense, which is getting the ball out of your hands and into the hands of the playmakers, needs to be the focal point. They tried to get too cute with that team. I think for them, they actually should focus on the Eagles because nobody in the AFC is really gaining any ground on them. We can talk about Mahomes, about Josh Allen, and we can talk about Lamar and that. But those two guys, those two teams, I'll say those two teams psych themselves out every time they play the Chiefs.
Well, I was going to say, those teams also aren't in your division, so you're only playing them maybe, I don't even know what their schedules are this year, but might be playing them once in the regular season. You really don't even have to worry about them, though, until the playoffs, and you have had their complete number in the playoffs. Bengals probably not even making it to the playoffs with Joe Burrow, the way that defense is set up. So the Chiefs really just got to worry about winning your poor division in the AFC West.
They got to get away from this tight end heavy,
which I think
traditional play,
they will.
West Coast offense. Like I don't know what happened with that.
I think they will because Travis Kelce probably won't be able to play more than like 30 snaps a game.
And I'm not saying take him completely out. Don't do that.
Yeah,
obviously it's Travis Kelce. He's a legend, and
he's still got juice.
Yeah, him and Mahomes have chemistry. But what I'm saying is, it needs to go back to the and not Tyreek Hill. Let's go back to the Andy Reid Eagles days when he had Deshaun Jackson, and Jeremy Maclin, right? Like that.
Jeremy Maclin.
Yeah, but that concept, because you got Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and you even got a burn in Hollywood Brown too. Like you have the tools, because Rashee Rice can be like Maclin, and Worthy's got the Deshaun Jackson speed, and Hollywood Brown can complement them as well. It needs to get more back to your receivers and less about the tight end and the running game and this clock management style.
I think they went that way because they had lost Tyreek, and they were just trying to, with so much cover 2 shells being played over and with the 2 over the top safeties to try and stop them from going deep. They decided, all right, we'll just pick you apart and become the best dink and dunk offense in the league.
I thought they conquered that when Mike Vrabel and the Titans made them like that one season, the last season that Tyreek Hill was there.
Yeah.
They had that same issue where I remember they played the Titans, and Vrabel was like, I don't care what you do, everything's got to be underneath. You're not beating me deep. And they looked so dysfunctional, and then everybody else started doing that. And they still won a Super Bowl. So I was like, oh, they figured it out, right? Like, no, I don't understand why they keep going away from it. And again, it's the one criticism I would put on Patrick Mahomes. I think that's him. I don't think that's the team or Andy Reid. I think that's him wanting to get downfield, a little bit of that air raid coming back in his system, wanting to get those big plays, and it just kind of makes it weird. Like
I think they'll have
scoot scramble.
I think they'll have the opportunities this year. I think with Xavier Worthy a full year in that team, Hollywood Brown healthy after I think it was an ACL tear in like the preseason last year, training camp. Rashee Rice is fully healthy off of his sprained MCL or PCL, whatever. I think they'll have the necessary pieces to have a full complementary offense.
I got a hot take for you. I think Jalen Royals takes Hollywood Brown's spot.
All right. Sure. Sounds good.
I do.
Sounds good.
He's a little underrated pick for them this draft.
Okay. I like that. Hollywood Brown hasn't really been able to stay healthy in his career, and
part of the reason too. I think it'll happen.
Maybe Hollywood just gets hurt and it just thrusts him into it, and he can take over. But with the Chiefs, you just got to figure out a way to make it back to the Super Bowl and
hope you don't play the Eagles.
My hot take is I don't think the Eagles are going to have near the amount of success they had last year.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to do that.
I just think they're going to take a pretty massive step back because, look, I'm not a Nick Sirianni guy. I think it's his coordinators. I think he's a very good CEO and gets the right coordinators. And we saw what happened the last time they made it to the Super Bowl and their coordinators went away. I think losing Kellen Moore is a pretty big loss.
I think everybody outside of Philly is probably not a big Nick Sirianni guy, but I got to give him credit where credit is due. And if he's just a manager, then he's hired the right people one more time, and hopefully
and he didn't
rehire the right people.
He didn't have to rehire the defensive coordinator, right?
Fangio's
you got Fangio. You have him until he retires. The dude's nearly 70.
He's a Philly guy.
He's a Philly guy. So you got Fangio for the rest of the time. But replacing Kellen Moore and getting an offensive coordinator in there that can create an offense like Shane Steichen did with Hurts and what Kellen Moore did with Hurts is going to be tough to replace. And you see how bad that offense can get when they don't have a coordinator that can create an offense that is good for Hurts.
Which I still don't understand why the guy between Kellen Moore and Steichen didn't work. I'm pretty sure he had worked directly with.
He was Steichen's second in
QB coach
command.
or something. Yeah, so it was
Brian Johnson.
He had Florida roots, I believe. I don't understand why he didn't. Why that didn't work, but
I think he had a really short lease because then all of a sudden Matt Patricia was part of it, and then there was another offensive line coach that was.
He didn't have Saquon Barkley either.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
That helps a lot.
That's a good point. Saquon is coming back.
Saquon helps a whole lot, man. I think I could call plays and put up some points with Saquon as the running back.
That's a valid point. You could just be like, all right, hand it off. Their offensive coordinator this year is Kevin Petula. He was previously passing game coordinator. So he's
a passing game coordinator for them.
He was, and now he's their offensive coordinator. So
what's his role before that?
Before passing game coordinator?
Yeah,
that's a great question. Let us figure that one out.
Because what I'm trying to see is, has he ever been in a situation where he's had to call plays? Because
no.
See, that would be the only concern, and I'm using air quotes because I mean that's something that you'll get with experience. But Typically, that's the only concern. But I think the Eagles, they know their identity now. No matter who's the offensive coordinator.
Saquon helps so much with that team. Like they realize we are a run first team. How does the personalities of AJ Brown though fit into all of that? Because homie was reading books on the sideline last year.
Keep him happy, man. He's a little
all those Ole Miss wide receivers are.
What do they call it? Mercurial.
Mercurial.
There you go. Oh God, you got me. I can't do the long R's, but
that's too long R's.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know how he is. And just give him the ball so he can make plays, and he's shown he's a team player. Like honestly, even with all his antics, never question where he's at on the field, man. Like he blocks, he hustles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like as long as you're doing those things, I don't care if you kick a couple things on the sideline.
And hopefully the Eagles can go out there and just have fun.
Well, I will say
Patrick Mahomes says
they were smart. They got rid of their aging dead weight earlier than what they should have, and they've also been bolstered by the fact that they've got guys who they know can step up and are ready right now. I think they'll be fine. If there's a drop, it's only because people like the Commanders or maybe the Lions or somebody like that might have taken a step up this year. Who knows? Like that would be the only drop I would see. I think they're still the team to beat.
They're still the team to be in the NFC. I think all the betting markets agree with that, with how it's playing out. So we'll take a quick break here, step aside, be back, talk a little bit about some college football rivalries. The Athletic ranked the top 100 of them. We'll share our thoughts on some of that as well. Be right back here on Fitz the Bill.
See website for details. Bills Happen is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner. We need some extra cash.
We should do what my friend from work did. She went to billshappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
Bills Happen is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to billshappen.com, and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to billshappen.com. That's billshappen.com. Billshappen.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water, but you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Oh, I love this scene. Yeah, man. I bet we could pull off a street race like this. Dude, totally.
Hey, you know this is just a movie, right?
Whoa, what?
You try this in real life, you could kill someone or even yourself.
Life's not like the movies. Avoid a life-changing consequence and slow down, because this is one disaster you can't outrun. Speeding catches up with you. A message presented by NHTSA.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
Traffic reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Linux dealer. Online at hermanallenplumbing.com.
Horse racing is back, and it's time to get ready for another Triple Crown season. Get the latest from the industry every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 with Off to the Races on 106.1 ESPN, presented by The Racing Biz. Nick Hahn and Frank Vespi bring you their insight and knowledge, talking with the people making the headlines, including jockeys, trainers, and owners. Plus, get the expert picks each week, including a visit by Derby Bill Watson. It's Off to the Races each Saturday morning at 10 on 106.1 ESPN, streaming live on the iHeartRadio app.
Looking for the perfect golf course? Check out RVA's best kept secret, Queenfield Golf Club, just a few minutes past Mechanicsville. Reserve your tee time today at queenfieldgolf.com.
Stuck off the field? 1061 ESPN's got your back. Stream every debate, score, and highlight on the 1061 ESPN app. Download today and stay in the game.
Don't sweat the technique. Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill, July 8th, Tuesday, 9:19 a.m. if you're keeping track of that sort of thing. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside right here on 1061 ESPN. We're live from the capital of the Commonwealth, the ESPN Richmond studios, as we turn our attention to a little college football. As the Athletic yesterday released their top, count them up, 100 best college football rivalries. That is a lot of college football rivalries. Topping the list, Alan, do you want to take a guess on what tops the list?
It better be Army versus, the Army-Navy game, but it won't be. It'll probably be Ohio State and Michigan.
You're right. Ohio State. Michigan is number one. Do you know where Army-Navy is?
It should be
number
two.
One. It should be number one.
Yeah,
but
you got a 4 in front of it. I don't like that.
4.
Oh, all right, good.
Can you guess that?
I mean, that's not good, but that's better.
It's top 5. Can you guess the I would do this. I should have had you read this and then I could guess them. But can you guess the top 3 that are in front of Army Navy? Michigan, Ohio State, number 1. Then what's number 2 and 3?
Florida and Georgia's probably up there.
No,
really? Wow. The
Florida, Georgia is not even in the top 10.
What?
It's 12.
Maybe wait, are they basing this on teams being competitive?
No,
if that's the case, that's fine. But
it is
Florida and Georgia hate each other.
It's good old fashioned hate.
They got a neutral site game for crying out loud.
This is just the best college football rivalries.
I didn't expect that. I would say Red River's got to be up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 3.
And then the Auburn, Alabama.
Yep. Oh, yeah, you got those.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I'm a college football fan, but wow, Florida, Georgia, not in the top 10.
Guess where Florida State is?
Where's that?
It's always a fun game.
They should probably be in the teens. I would think
9.
Yeah. Oh, nah, man.
9th. They are 9th. That is insane. So the top 5, it sits of top 5 best college football rivalries according to Scott Docterman. He's actually an Iowa beat writer. He does a very good job covering the Hawkeyes, but so he comes at it from a little bit of a Midwest angle. Michigan, Ohio State, number 1. Auburn, Alabama, number 2. Oklahoma, Texas, 3. Army, Navy, 4. USC, Notre Dame, 5, and that's the rivalry that USC is trying to get rid of. Don't let them do it. There's a sellout crowd whenever you want it, and USC is like, we may not want to do it. Nebraska, Oklahoma's number 6. It is important to say that this is written by an Iowa Hawkeye beat writer for the Athletic, Scott Docterman. He does a fantastic job covering the Iowa Hawkeyes.
There's no way Nebraska, Oklahoma is bigger or more of a rivalry.
He's coming at this from a Midwestern perspective, and I think that has a through line with all of this.
It clearly does.
Because there's a little bit of an anti-SEC bias.
I refuse to believe that. That's the only thing I will stand with the SEC on. They do have some good rivalries.
Got some good rivalries.
Yeah.
They got some good rivalries. I'm trying to see. He has Minnesota, Wisconsin over Georgia, Florida. He has Georgia, Florida under Alabama, Tennessee,
and this is in the Athletic.
Yeah, I think Georgia, Florida is a much better.
They're supposed to be like credible.
Good. Yeah. Let's go to the phone lines. We'll bring on Dolphin Dave. I imagine he has something to say about our Dolphin talk there at the conclusion of hour number 1. Good morning, Dolphin Dave. How are you doing on this Tuesday morning?
I am wonderful. The sun is shining, and I'm sitting in an air-conditioned car right now.
I
the
love
only
it.
way I will talk to you. Listen, real quick, I don't think you should dismiss Nebraska, Oklahoma as quick as you are, simply because Oklahoma's been better over the years. Nebraska's not been. but it's still a rivalry. So if you take away records, you got to take away the records to see historic who was a rivalry. And I think when I was growing up, Nebraska, Oklahoma was huge.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing. Like Oklahoma and even more so Nebraska, they haven't been a real force since the early 2000s, if that. So that game has lost some of its national luster, but in Nebraska and in Oklahoma, that game carries a lot of weight. I mean, heck,
it's huge.
Nebraska,
It's huge. And
any
you're right.
Nebraska Cornhusker game carries so much weight in the state of Nebraska.
Absolutely. And don't get rid of Notre Dame USC.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Do not get rid of it.
Absolutely not. That is not gone. All right, guys, listen, let me tell you a real quick opinion on Stephen Ross. I've never been a fan of Stephen Ross. I don't remember him doing the right thing ever. Okay. And the reason is I think Stephen Ross, back in the day, about 5 years, they were actually, I don't know if you remember this, he was running the team so badly that they had protests outside the office. But Stephen Ross's concept for Stephen is, I own an NFL team. Hey, look at me. I don't care if I win or lose. And that's the one thing that I really honestly think that as an owner, the only time I would ever want to have Jerry Jones, because I think Jerry Jones is an idiot, and not as a general manager, but as an owner, is because he cares if he wins or loses. I don't think Stephen Ross does. I think he likes to manipulate maybe a little bit. I think he likes to play with the team a little bit. But I think he really wants to be able to sit in that group of owners and say, look, I have an NFL team. Hey, look at me. I don't care if my record's like 6-12 or 6-13. I care the fact that I have an NFL team. So I have asked for a long, long time. I've been praying that somebody else would buy that team. Someone who actually cared about winning and losing, knew the financials a little bit better, so that you were not going to give to a $53 million a year, or have to give up our tight end to Pittsburgh simply because we can't afford to pay him, and he had to be his best receiver we had all last year. Think about this: we have Tyreek Hill and we have Jalen Waddle, and our best receiver was our tight end.
Yeah.
So that was just. It boggles my imagination when I look at this, and I think I've said this to you guys before. You guys were talking about the backup quarterback, Asante Samuels, I believe it was.
Yeah, Asante Samuel. Yeah, Asante Samuel Jr., yeah.
I don't care. I don't care who you have as a backup. Unless I have a coach that can adapt to the backup, which we don't, then it doesn't matter if you got Kirk Cousins back there, okay? The one thing, if you look when Tua went down, I think I said this before, is he did his playbook like Tua was still in.
Yeah.
And the backup quarterback was getting killed. He could not get rid of the ball nearly as quick. So he's going back and trying to find his receivers. He wasn't timing his receivers. He didn't have time to time his receivers. And either he was getting intercepted, or he was throwing into the ground, or he was very seldom, maybe a short pass or whatever. But he was lost. And he didn't have a coach to help him get him out of the woods. So I was a big McDaniel fan in the beginning for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Now I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for this year, for this to implode. Don't want to. This implode, and he will not have a job. Neither will Chris Greer at the end of the year.
I hope Chris Greer, the general manager of the Dolphins, does not that I'm wishing anyone on the unemployment line, but he's made enough money. I don't think he should have a job. He's been with the Miami Dolphins in some sort of capacity since 2000, took over the general manager role in 2016, and has never once brought them in a big-time player through the draft. As a scout, he's never really brought them any postseason success as a general manager. It is insane to me that Chris Greer still has a job. Mike McDaniel,
yep.
I'm still in the camp. I like Mike McDaniel. I think he has the mental makeup to be a very successful coach in the NFL. Maybe at this point, it's not with the Miami Dolphins. It's in a new place. Maybe he goes back to San Francisco, rehabs his image a little bit, then lands on his feet somewhere. But Chris Greer's the big problem. As long as the Miami Dolphins have a general manager who has never had success doing anything since he stepped foot in Miami in 2000, then there is never going to be an ounce of success for the Dolphins.
I totally agree with you, and I think the fact, but here's my problem with Mike McDaniel is I don't see toughness on the sideline. I'm sorry. I never saw him take somebody to task like other coaches. Some of the things that our coaches, think about some of the things that our players would do, and they came out in front of Brian Campbell, or they came out in front of Mike Tomlin, or they came out, even Flores, even as a defensive coordinator. Okay, think of what happened. The sideline, if they screwed up, that doesn't happen on our sideline. Nobody is afraid in our team. And that's the problem.
I think McDaniel's more new school, and I think that is just his approach. I think the issue is they haven't gone out and gotten players that fit Mike McDaniel's coaching style because Chris Grier is a bad GM. In my opinion, all of the issues around the Dolphins start and end with Chris Grier. I do get what you're saying, though. Like, McDaniel isn't going to be a guy that is going to be he's going to be a player's coach. He's going to be kind of low key on the sidelines. He's kind of millennial-esque, but I think it's kind of just a new style. But if you do want a coach that's going to rip into your players, Mike McDaniel's just not that guy. And if you have
not that guy,
and if you have players that need that, then he's not going to be the coach that's going to get the best out of them. And I think that goes back to Chris Grier not kind of being aligned with his head coach, probably because Chris Grier has been there for 3 or 4 different coaches since 2016.
Yep. And they all have one thing in common.
They all get fired.
They're not successful, and they have Chris Grier as the general manager.
I love it. Dolphin Dave, thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, guys.
There goes Dolphin Dave. We don't talk a lot of Miami Dolphins and their front office goings-ons here in the Richmond radio market, but I urge you to check out Chris Grier's Pro Football Reference page, Wikipedia page. The dude has done nothing successfully since joining the Miami Dolphins in 2000 as a scout. He was there for 2-3 years as a scout, then kind of worked his way up, took over general manager duties in 2016. If you're wondering why the Miami Dolphins do not have success, sure, it might be a little bit of Stephen Ross, but for the most part, he seems like a pretty hands-off owner, except for the couple of times he was very hands-on, and I think that kind of sways the way we think of him. But the issue is Chris Grier. The dude has been there for nearly a decade as the GM and has done nothing of substance for the Miami Dolphins. What's his biggest claim to fame? Drafting Tua, trading for Teron Armstead. I mean, there's just not a lot that the Miami Dolphins have hung their hat on. And I think that's where the issues start and end. And unfortunately for Mike McDaniel, he stepped into a horrible situation with Chris Grier as his general manager, and will probably end up with Mike McDaniel getting fired. And somehow Chris Grier, if history tells us what's going to happen next, then he'll somehow stick around. But that's the issue with the Dolphins. That is the issue. Massive issue. Going back to that rivalry list here, Nebraska, Oklahoma, I'll give it to them. That game has a lot of meaning in those states. Anything Nebraska wise has a ton of just hype around it when it comes to Nebraska.
Fight it.
I see what they're saying. Like,
is this historically speaking?
All time. Best all time college.
So this list is best all time?
Yeah. So
okay. All right. Well, then some of my responses and reactions will be different.
But still, I mean,
I thought it was currently.
But that game still carries a little bit of weight. Auburn, Georgia, 17. Harvard, Yale is the first non-FBS rivalry, and that is 20th.
They do go hard.
They go real hard.
Yeah.
There's a non-Division I rivalry down at the bottom of the list, and I think it's Division III rivalry, and it is 90th, although these teams have only met 12 times dating back to 2002. Mount Union versus UW Whitewater.
They must really hate each other then.
Yeah, I mean, 12 times. Your first meeting was 2002. You haven't even played every year, but I guess they meet often in the national championship or something. I guess. Williams versus Amherst, 2 Division III schools. They have met 139 times. They are ranked in the 93rd. Williams actually hosted College Game Day back in 2007. And yeah, that one, sure, that Division III showdown. Richmond and William and Mary are 95th.
They should be on the list for sure.
No JMU Richmond, though. Probably because JMU owned that rivalry.
I mean, probably because
that
it's
rivalry
not
doesn't
like
exist anymore.
As William and Mary and Richmond. So yeah. And it doesn't exist anymore. So there's that. Yeah. I can't believe USC is really trying to get out of the Notre Dame thing.
What? It's so stupid.
It is.
It's so stupid. And I'm not all for realignment. Realignment kind of upsets me.
I'm not for realignment. I didn't like it.
And it's causing the issue now with USC Notre Dame because USC is, although that is still a good game on your schedule. Like Notre Dame is a consistent college football playoff
Notre
team.
Dame is a top 2-3 team, depending on who you talk to. They might be the best team, depending on who you talk to.
If anything, Notre Dame should want that game off their schedule because
you're bringing them down.
They're bringing them down. And USC's over here like, we're too good for this. And it's like, bro, shut up. Go back to LA and just figure out how you can actually be competitive against Notre Dame. Shut up, USC.
Cut it out.
Cut it out, man. You're not that good. You have been a failure. You're probably going to fire your coach after this year. Is that crazy to say?
No, I think USC's expectations are a little different than what they used to be. But yeah, if he comes out and he only wins 7-8 games, he should be fired.
I think if USC pulls out of this rivalry game, USC should be banished to the NAIA.
Now, I think if USC pulls out this rivalry game, Notre Dame should just join the Big Ten. That would be obviously they won't, but that would be hilarious.
They'd just be like, well, if you don't want to play us, we'll force you to play us.
Yeah, we'll just come to your conference. I mean, they got meaningful games out there anyway.
I don't get why USC even wants to pull out of it though, because you have to play non-conference games. So, woe is me. We have one less non-conference game we can schedule because we have this one with Notre Dame every single year. But you are going to sell out the stadium. You're going to bring in a ton of revenue. It is backwards thinking for USC unless they just want to stop losing to Notre Dame, who leads the all-time series with 52 wins. USC only has 38 of them.
Yeah, and in USC's case, honestly, is less risk on their part, considering that their program's inferior. I mean, they could get a good quality win to bolster their postseason chances.
Yeah, USC wants to cry about it and be like, well, the Big Ten doesn't want us to do it. Man,
I find that hard to believe too.
It's so. I want to know how this even came about, like
the rivalry in general.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't go that far back.
Apparently, originally scheduled as a 5-game series when they first started it, but now the Trojans and Irish have played every fall except for World War II from 43 to 45 and COVID in 2020.
Probably because it was always entertaining and good money. So.
Yeah, exactly. And then USC wants to end it. First meeting in 1926, and USC's like, actually, I want to stop playing it.
Yeah, it's almost been 100 years. That's no,
it's freaking USC. Go back to LA. Eat your avocado toast.
If your rivalry game is on a neutral field, I feel like it should get a
automatic
bump up.
top 5.
Yeah, it should be a bump up.
That's why Texas gets it with they play at the Cotton Bowl, right?
Yeah, Cotton Bowl.
Auburn, Alabama. But there is something really fun about a rivalry game flipping campus hosts every other year. Like that does add so much to it.
Yeah, but I feel like what it says about your rivalry when it's at a neutral site is that
you hate each other so much.
You hate each other so much.
Opponents
it's not
aren't safe.
No, and I go back to my high school. We had EC Glass as our rival, and when I was younger, when I played them, it wasn't that big of a deal. But when I was younger, and my cousin was that we were at the peak powers of Amherst EC Glass rivalry. They had to play at City Stadium. They had to play at a neutral site because they couldn't trust the fans not to get into it when it was a home and home. And I always, even as a kid, I always thought that was so cool. Like,
yeah,
people that passionate.
You know what might make Georgia Florida not a top 10 rivalry?
Why?
Because it's nicknamed the largest outdoor cocktail party.
Our largest outdoor cocktail party. Yeah.
So that kind of takes away a little bit of it. But yeah, you're right.
It's also a little skewed too. Georgia.
Georgia leads the all-time series with 56 wins. Florida has 44 wins, and there's 2 ties. But you're right about it being at a neutral site. Like it does add this coolness to it. Like it is this new atmosphere, and you just can't trust the fans. Although with a nickname like the biggest cocktail party, the largest outdoor cocktail party, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It kind of takes away a little bit of some of the pizzazz. Makes it sound like you guys just want to meet up at a middle point. Like you're trying to make a meeting with your friend and you're like, what's the middle ground? Where can we meet to get some drinks?
The greatest troll of all time. In my sports group on Facebook, the Florida fan, they finally beat Georgia one year. And the way they mapped out the path from Athens back to Florida was an L. It was perfect. It was a perfectly shaped L on the map, and they sent it to the guy, the other player or the other fan.
Yeah.
And was like, hold this.
Yikes.
And nobody got it at first. And then we looked at it was like
map.
a bold path. And it was like, oh my God, it's a perfect L. That's great.
That's a great troll. That's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that was great.
All right, we're going to get a break in here. On the other side, we're going to shift gears a bit, go to the NBA, as some storylines have been trickling out. We'll talk a little buyout, little trade, and everything in between. Keep it locked right here. Fitz the Bill on this Tuesday morning.
Looking for the perfect golf course? Check out RVA's best kept secret, Queenfield Golf Club, just a few minutes past Mechanicsville. Reserve your tee time today at queenfieldgolf.com.
Oh, I love this scene.
Yeah, man. I bet we could pull off a street race like this.
Dude, totally.
Hey, you know this is just a movie, right?
Whoa, what?
You try this in real life, you could kill someone or even yourself.
Life's not like the movies. Avoid a life-changing consequence and slow down, because this is one disaster you can't outrun. Speeding catches up with you. A message presented by NHTSA.
The Black Friday and July event from Dell Technologies is here with great offers on trusted technology. You'll also discover huge deals on new AI-ready laptops like the Dell 14 Plus featuring Intel Core Ultra processors starting at $699.99. Save on top accessories, plus enjoy fast, free shipping and other benefits. Upgrade today by visiting Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Catch up on the latest horse racing news with Off to the Races live broadcast, 10 to 11 every Saturday morning on 106.1 ESPN. Presented by The Racing Biz.
See website for details. Bills app is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner. We need some extra cash.
We should do what my friend from work did. She went to billshappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
Bills Happen is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to billshappen.com and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to billshappen.com. That's billshappen.com. Billshappen.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water, but you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Oh, I love this scene.
Yeah, man. I bet we could pull off a street race like this.
Dude, totally.
Hey, you know this is just a movie, right?
Whoa, what?
You try this in real life, you could kill someone or even yourself.
Life's not like the movies. Avoid a life-changing consequence and slow down, because this is one disaster you can't outrun. Speeding catches up with you. A message presented by NHTSA.
Whether it's the football field, the basketball court, or the diamond, and everything in between, we'll be talking JMU athletics on Talking Dukes Wednesdays, 6 o'clock here on 106.1 ESPN.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill on this Tuesday morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick out alongside right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Going out to the text line real quick. You can text in 804-327-0888. Said, attending the Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville Halloween weekend with Tim Tebow as the quarterback was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. That's valid. I mean, those games have been fantastic, and being able to see it at a neutral site makes that rivalry so great. But I do think maybe I just clicked. The reason they're 12th out of this top 100 list of best college football rivalries is likely because they are nicknamed the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. That takes away a little bit of the shine from it. But you can text in, be part of the show, call in as well, 804-327-0888. So I want to change gears over a little bit to the NBA. Talk of a Bradley Beal buyout is coming. Norman Powell was traded yesterday. So some things are happening around the NBA. Tyrese Halliburton announced that he's out, or he didn't announce it. The Indiana Pacers announced.
Why did they have to announce that? I thought we just assumed that.
Oh, I kind of like the fact that they announced it, because now there isn't that hanging over them. Like, so easily you would have had the crazy fans in the media been like, okay, well, he injured at this. If he's on the front end of his timeline, he could be ready to go by the start of the playoffs. And then you kind of had that unneeded pressure on Tyrese Halliburton to try and come back. I like the Pacers announcing.
Well, was the owner or somebody came out and said that if they could do it over again, they wouldn't have let him play Game 7.
I agree with that.
Should have thought about that before game. You already had 2 instances.
Yeah. I was saying was it before game? I think it was after Game 7, after he tore his Achilles, or maybe before it, where I was saying you have to really think about that, because these calf strains that Tyrese Halliburton did get do lead to Achilles tears pretty often.
Yeah, and then they've got all this AI and all this other stuff going into researching it. Like, dude, you don't need that.
Yeah.
It's legitimate cases where the calf strain leads to this injury.
And I get it would have been nearly impossible, and your fans may have revolted if you were like, Tyrese cannot play in Game 7, but you had to do it to protect this year, and you sold this year with the hopes that he could maybe not suffer the injury and bring you a championship. I get it. I just don't think the risk was worth the reward. And I know the reward was an NBA championship. I just don't think the risk was worth it.
Because now you're only worth it if you actually get the championship.
You get, and now we're sitting here, hindsight's 2020. We know what happened. He tore his Achilles, but now you've lost Tyrese for all of next season, right?
Yeah.
You've lost Miles Turner, who you probably would have retained if you had Tyrese healthy for next year. And now your team looks completely different heading into 2026-27 when Tyrese Halliburton does return. So the hindsight's 2020, but Bradley Beal is out there. He's reportedly very close to being bought out by the Phoenix Suns. He's been very close for about 48 hours now. I think they're trying to dot some I's, cross some T's, because Beal is going to have to give back about $14 million to make this work so that the Suns can do a waive and stretch on him. But he's apparently super motivated, according to reports from Zach Lowe of The Ringer and Fred Katz from The Athletic, super motivated to get out of Phoenix and play for a contender. And the leading candidate for Bradley Beal to land on is the Los Angeles Clippers.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would be the trio of stop me if this sounds exciting. A trio of James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Bradley Beal.
Poor Harden gonna be playing by himself a lot.
Oh, yeah, Harden's the only guy. Philly should have kept Harden and not let Paul George come over.
No, I mean, Harden did it to himself in Philly, like his attitude, man.
Where was Harden before that?
Brooklyn, I think.
Was he with Brooklyn? That's right. He was traded from Houston. Man, what a weird team that was. Harden, Irving, Durant.
Yeah, but 3 guys that just were like, I think this version of Kyrie, the older Kyrie, would have been fine there, but younger Kyrie was a head case too, man.
It was 3 head cases. One guy that just wanted a ball, one guy that just wanted to go to strip clubs, and one guy who was saying, have you done your own research? a bad grouping. So Bradley Beal close to getting bought out. He's eyeing the Clippers, and the Clippers are eyeing him pretty hard, which makes everyone believe that this deal that was made yesterday with Norman Powell leaving the Clippers feel like a precursor to them clearing up a little space to bring Bradley Beal in, because they traded Norman Powell. The Heat get him. So the Heat give up essentially nothing to go out and get a guy who's coming off of a career high 22 points per game, was an all-star candidate, played in and started all 60 games that he played in. He is on a little bit of an older side, 32, but goes out. They get him. The Clippers, Jazz, and Heat. It was a 3-team deal yesterday. Norman Powell goes to Miami. John Collins goes to the Clippers. So that's a nice little big man pickup for the Los Angeles Clippers. Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson and a 2027 Clippers second-round pick goes to Utah. Utah, I think they've already bought out Kevin Love, but they will be buying him out very quickly. and Utah just kind of eating some salaries right now to accumulate draft picks, kind of that OKC model. But Powell goes to Miami. Just so funny. I love the Miami Heat. They're always in talks. You know, there were rumors that they might get Bradley Beal off the buyout. Maybe Giannis comes to Miami, and then their big offseason acquisition. Congratulations, get a 32-year-old Norman Powell.
The most Heat thing ever. That's what they do every year.
Okay, but he fits Heat culture, apparently, whatever that is.
Yeah.
The standard is the standard, whatever that means. I love when fans say that. The standard's the standard. Well, what's the standard? It's the standard. All right. Cool. So you don't know it either. But all right. Well, the Clippers had, when healthy, a pretty darn good basketball team that found their rhythm late. I don't know if I'm just jaded because of what Bradley Beal did these last couple of years in Phoenix by being hurt all the time and not really living up to what he was when he was a Wizard. But I don't know how much of a game changer Bradley Beal is at this point in his career. So I don't think this makes the Clippers any better. And Bradley Beal is kind of another guard, so he's probably going to be coming off of the bench. I doubt you can go. Chris Dunn is expected to be their point guard. I doubt you could go Dunn, Harden, Beal, Kawhi, and then they got Lopez. They've got another big man, Zubac, I think. Mm-hmm. So I doubt you can do that. So Beal probably comes off the bench. This just doesn't move the needle a lot for me if I'm the Clippers, if I'm a Clippers fan. And he had to give up Norman Powell, who was coming off of his career best year, and you don't get necessarily a ton younger by bringing in Bradley Beal. A lot of moving pieces right now. So we'll keep it locked to see when Bradley Beal gets bought out, because this has been close to happening. They've been finalizing the buyout for the last 48, 72 hours. Apparently both sides are motivated, but not motivated enough to make it happen quickly. But the Norman Powell trade shows that it's likely about to come down with that trade being finalized yesterday. All right, let's get a break in here. Our last break. We'll be back to wrap up this Tuesday edition of Fitz the Bill right here on 106.1 ESPN.
Golf season is here at Hunting Hawk Golf Club. Plan your next golf outing for your kids' athletic team, church group, or fundraiser online at huntinghawk.com. That's huntinghawk.com.
See website for details. Bills happen is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? We need some extra cash.
We should do what my friend from work did. She went to billshappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
Bills Happen is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to billshappen.com, and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to billshappen.com. That's billshappen.com. Billshappen.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Summertime in RVA means one thing. Golf season is here. If you're looking for the perfect golf course, head over to Queenfield Golf Club, located just a few minutes east of Mechanicsville. Queenfield offers a beautifully secluded 18-hole course, spacious driving range, and professionally maintained practice greens and bunkers. Schedule your tee time today by calling 804-769-8838 or reserve a spot online at queenfieldgolf.com and make Queenfield Golf Club your new favorite course.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
Yeah, for me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the entire job, all from one partner. To get access to over 3 million products, including many products you won't find in our stores. It's time to get delivery on your schedule or next day on over 50,000 products. And time to get dedicated support on the job site or in our stores. From ordering to planning, we've got you. One partner, any job, all in. Ask about all we can now do at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
From Richmond and beyond, Border to Border with Matt Josephs on 106.1 ESPN breaks down Virginia sports like nobody else. Bold opinions, zero sugarcoating. Tune in.
Again, Fitz the Bills. We wrap up on this Tuesday. Alan, I've heard you've got the news that runner that picked up the ground ball as he was running from second to third to break up the double play. What say you? What was the final ruling? I don't know how you found this.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I told you somebody would have a breakdown. But there is a rule that the umpire is at the umpire's discretion, essentially. But a base runner really willfully and deliberately interfering with a batted ball or a fielder in the act of fielding a batted ball to break it up in an attempt to stop a double play, the umpire shall call the runner out for interference.
Okay.
And also call the batter out.
Okay.
If there's less than 2 outs.
Okay. All right. So it's a double play.
Yeah.
You're all right. I did not think they could call that. I did not think we could assume a double play, but I guess it makes sense. It makes sense.
It does. But like you said, it's one of the things about baseball. You run across things you've never seen before on a regular basis. And even in the breakdown, the person doing the breakdown was like, it's not something that you see often enough for it to come up. Like we've seen guys.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, we've seen guys like try to deflect the ball or not get out the way of a ball per se, but never like this guy. He just ran up and scooped it like he was a shortstop.
I also, when you said interfering with the thrower who's like trying to make the play or has already scooped the ball,
to celebrate that.
I was just thinking of the runner just lowering his shoulder and just driving him into the dirt as he tried to make the
Albert Bell. Yeah. Albert Bell destroyed, I think it was the second baseman once. And if I recall, I don't know if he was turning the play or if he was trying to field the ball, but
he just got blown up.
But Albert Bell was such a tank, man. Like,
could you
feel bad for the guy? Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine because ain't nothing you can do about it.
Just getting blown up.
Nobody's there to help you. I mean, when Albert Bell was at his peak, maybe Cecil Fielder could stand up to him.
Maybe.
But most people would just gotta take that L, man.
You gotta take that big hit from the 6'2" big guy.
Go on and brush yourself up and jog back to the dugout.
Coming between second and third, he lowers his shoulder and night.
Have you ever seen it?
No,
like,
I've not. I gotta look up this play.
He truck sticked him like no other. It was insane. In today's game, I know he'd be suspended and fined for sure. But like, during that time, it was one of those things where it's like, that's just Albert being Albert.
From 1996.
Yeah.
I found the clip, folks. This is big time stuff. This is big J journalism. Dude is a big guy. Oh, yeah, I've seen that clip.
Yeah, Albert Bell was a tank.
He didn't just blow him up. He didn't lower his shoulder. He exploded. He exploited through the point of contact. Albert Bell picked the wrong sport. Should have been playing some linebacker. Yeah. Imagine coming over the middle with him right there.
Oh my God!
Just set up shop with the old neck roll. I could see Albert Bell being a good time linebacker.
He's a nice guy too.
That resulted in a double play. That Albert Bell play would have resulted in a double play.
By definition, it's supposed to. But again, are you going to call Albert Bell the double play there?
Hey, you're right. That's a great point. That is a valid point. But I'm glad we could get to the bottom of that one. Do you remember what minor league game it happened in?
I cannot tell that part.
All right,
I don't see anybody in the comments.
I'll say the Asheville Tourists against the Rome Emperors.
I'm just happy I found clarification.
That's a good point.
And I didn't have to go to New York for it.
The Augusta Green Jackets against the Trash Pandas. The final answer. So stay locked on the spot right here where RVA talks sports. Braves baseball, a late first pitch 10:05 over in California as the Braves take on the Athletics. You can listen to all of that action right here on 106.1 ESPN. Between now and then, it's a long time between now and then, just about 12 hours, 13, no, about 12 hours. We're RVA's best sports talk. Clinton and Friends from 10 until noon. Then Joe and Q take you through the afternoon from 12 until 3. Freddie and Harry will be here. Actually, I'm reading the wrong script. That's my fault. Back live and local because Matt Josephs is here from 3 until 4. Bob Black joins Matt for the mashup hour from 4 until 5. And then Bob Black takes you on home from 5 until 6 with the Sports Huddle. For now, that'll do it for Fitz the Bill. We'll be back tomorrow, better than ever, right here on 106.1 ESPN.
Score alerts, hot takes, and Richmond's loudest fans. W291CL Lakeside Richmond and WURV HD2 Richmond. Bring the noise and game on 106.1 ESPN.
Hey, Bob. Is that him calling now, Thomas David? ESPN Richmond. Are you doing your interview with Bob Black? All right, give me a second. I'll get you on, okay? All right, Bob, he's on.
I'm good. How are you? Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. How good.
Ready when you are.
Oh yeah, it's been hot, but yeah, it's been pretty good. I like the campus, just walking around and stuff. It's a big difference than like my previous school because it was like in the city, but this is like it's a nice, pretty nice campus and stuff. And I like the facility, the practice facility, and everything. And yeah, it's a good environment, especially just walk around and stuff, see the lake, see the like dust and stuff walking around. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. I feel like when I came on a visit this like last year, and I mean, like the coaching staff, like how they were just describing how it's a family oriented like organization, how everybody they're gonna help you whatever, like with school, basketball. I just really like the family oriented like part of it really, and as I've been here, I feel like it's held up to that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like this past year, I didn't even like have to come on a visit. I just got on the Zoom call when I entered the portal. I just got on the Zoom call with them. Just wanted to talk and stuff, and we just like caught up and things like that. But yeah, it was a good experience. I feel like now it's a little more crazy. You might get a little more phone calls and stuff like that in a short amount of time. And then, but like now, I feel like I know more about like maybe what I might be looking for. And then now with how things go today, like the NIL aspect of it, so that changes it. But yeah, I feel like I know a little bit more now. Yeah. Yeah, like my freshman year, I feel like it was a great experience. Got to play some good underrated teams, and then getting to the Paul and the Big East. I mean, you get to play like every game is against a great team that some of the teams might have gone to the tournament. So I feel like it was a great experience just to gain knowledge, be able to play against some of the best. So yeah, I feel like both years were very beneficial. Oh yeah, like because I started to play a little bit more, like in conference, like so. I feel like I was able to just get acclimated a little bit more against the better teams. I feel like that helped me down the road to like halfway through conference and then going into the Big East tournament. So I was a little bit more comfortable and just knew what to expect and things like that. I expect like every game to be a big game because I know I've seen the Atlantic 10, like, and I see some players got drafted out of this conference this past year. So I know it's going to be like every game's going to be a big one. And I heard the crowds and stuff. And it's a great environment. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, just a strong guard too that plays both sides of the floor and like good shot creation and try to get my teammates involved. And I can shoot it really well too. I feel like sometimes even in practice, just I might ask questions because I'm new here. Just a few, like there's a good amount of people that ever here this past year, just asking questions if I'm a little confused on something we might be doing, one of the plays. And then I feel like we spend a good amount of time out of practice and stuff just to get the camaraderie, things like that. But yeah, I feel like in practice and stuff, just asking questions because I know this offensive stuff is a little bit new to me. Yeah, they've been really helpful. I feel like the summertime, it's just got to focus on like the little things. Like D'Lo, he came to one of our practices and he was like in the summer, just make sure like focus on the little things. Like of course scoring and all that, that's important, but make sure you focus on the little things like cutting hard, talking on defense. So I feel like that's one of the biggest things for the summertime practices. Yeah, I sense it, like, especially with the coaches, like, just getting on us, not letting us just get away with anything because we can't take any shortcuts, especially because last year for this team wasn't the best year. So I feel like I sense it in practice, just getting on us with, like, all the little details. So I feel like that's how I sense it. I mean, yeah, a little bit, but like it'd be cool to play against some SoCon teams again. But yeah, I feel like the confidence should be there every game because every game's important. Like off the court, man. Like I like to play the game, hang with my friends. Sometimes, like on this campus, I might go for a walk. I went for a walk a few times, sat down like near the lake and stuff like that. So I like just chill and stuff. And yeah, off the court, might just play the game. Feel like I'm the best like 2K player on the team. So yeah. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yes, sir. All right, I'll see you.
All right, I'll get it edited. Okay, Matt will be producing. Yep. Best we can do, I guess. I'm gonna set up for Colonial. I'll shoot you guys a email about it. But I'm gonna go by there on Thursday to make sure we're in the same spot. Yeah, I'll double check to make sure the location. This Friday I've got to do something with NASCAR, but the other Fridays, as long as Jordan can do it, I'll be there. This week it'll be Jack. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, just be you and Matt. Caitlin can't do her show or her segment. He'll have to record that on Tuesdays. Yeah, normally I'll be there. Yeah, I'll have to double check with the date on that, but I think that was the date I sent you. I'll have to check the scheduling, but more than likely it'll be just you because we don't have anybody on Thursday. All right. Take care.